Jonathan,
Yeah.
it's a very cool shirt you got on there.
Oh yeah. Rocking the road to code.
That's right.
And you got the road to code mug.
The Road to Code mug. But we're not here to talk about mugs or shirt. We're here to talk about tech history.
Yes, this week we're covering October 18th to the 24th. And first off, we have the world's first video game.
The world's first video game.
What was the game?
It looks like it was a tennis simulator game called Tennis for Two. Developed by Donner modeled 30. Developed on a Donner. Blah, blah, blah. I mean, these are like a tongue twister here. Developed on a Donner Model 30 analog computer using an oscilloscope. Is that how you pronounce that word? Oscilloscope?
Yeah, I guess so.
First known electronic game use graphic display. How in the heck? How do you in 1958? How does it use a graphic display? Where did they plug it into?
But yeah, well, there's no TV in this picture either.
I know. I guess
dots, maybe.
Dots, yeah. I mean, wasn't that what Pong was?
Yeah.
Pong was that. What's interesting is that, oh, got it. Okay. So in this image, it's actually, I thought this was the oscilloscope here, these big circle, little circle.
That's just a magnifying. I just noticed that now too, right?
Yeah. I still don't know how it works though.
Yeah.
I think is this in Wikipedia? Early computers. Yeah, no, I don't know. I don't know how this would work. I mean, where's the little game pads?
Where's my joystick?
Where's the joystick?
I need a controller or something.
Tell me about it. So, October 18, 1958, first video game. We don't know how he played it. It didn't come with an instruction manual. It is interesting that it was the first tennis simulator game. I wonder if it actually was able to calculate like the speed of the ball as it's being hit, and then with the power and gravity and how long it took to actually get over the net and then drop down to a bounce.
Yeah.
That was a lot of math too. I mean, math, what is that? Geometry.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff in there. Cool.
Yeah. Next up, we have October 18th. NES hits North America.
NES. Oh my goodness.
That's super old.
1985. This was before you, Jonathan.
I know.
Do they still have these anywhere? Do they have them over at Frank & Sons?
I think they do, yeah.
And you can still find these games?
They're probably really hard to find, but I'm pretty sure somebody has them.
Yeah. I definitely didn't own one of these. I had a friend that owned it, but I could never get into it. It was just, I guess you have to spend some time with it in order to get past certain games.
Yeah.
So, did you ever get a chance to play this?
I haven't played any games on it. Yeah, there was no games that really stood out to me on that one besides like Super Mario or Donkey Kong. But yeah, I didn't really play on one of these.
Go ahead.
I've seen one in real life, but
Who had it? Who had it?
It was at Frankincense. Like you can play them.
Oh, okay. Did they have the NES didn't have the, what do you call it, Street Fighter yet, did it?
Nope.
You needed the Super NES.
Yep.
Because that had This only had like what, an 8-bit graphics card?
Yeah, super, super old school, like graphics that they had on them.
And you needed at least so this had an 8-bit, so you needed like at least a 32-bit or something, or a
Yeah.
16-bit for
Mhm.
for Street Fighter.
Yep, yep.
Wow.
I remember they had a for that game Duck Hunt, they had like a different controller. It was like a that you actually could use it as a gun and stuff. It was pretty cool.
Oh, wait, didn't you have it? The
No,
Duck?
it wasn't for the NES. It was for I think it was for Sega.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Cool. This is nostalgic.
Yeah.
Cool.
Next up, we have um VisiCalc officially released.
Yeah, VisiCalc has come up on occasion in our segments. I think it came up once with our birthdays for Dan Bricklin.
Mhm.
And then it also came up as the first official spreadsheet program for Mac.
Yeah.
You remember that?
Yep.
But VisiCalc was the first commercially available spreadsheet software and quickly became the first killer app of personal computer market. I wonder why they call it killer app. I mean, did it kill the personal market, the personal computer market, or it was the killer app, like a badass app, and you
Yeah.
had to get a personal computer,
It's like it was super killer, man.
and you had to get a personal computer in order to work with it.
Yeah. It's like, dude, you got to get VisiCalc. Buy yourself a computer, man. It's killer.
That's right. So yeah, the first official release, and this was okay, cool.
Yeah.
VisiCalc, more power.
Next up, we have October 21st. Edison perfects the light bulb.
So they invented it. They sold a bogus copy to people. And then several years later, they perfected it.
Yeah.
This is almost like, hey, we're going to sell you version 1 of our car. And you drive it off the lot and you're going 12 miles an hour and you crash into a tree. And they're like, you crashed it. How did you crash it? It's like, because I couldn't stop it. They're like, oh, well, that's because version 1 didn't come with brakes. We have car version 2, which now comes with brakes, and it's much safer. You should buy that, you know?
That's funny.
So yeah, so Thomas Edison light bulb. This is interesting because when you pass electricity through a wire, it gets really super hot. I'm
Mhm.
talking about extremely hot. And whenever you have oxygen in the air, it essentially just it heats up the air around it. And so you kind of start this chain reaction, right? And there's going to be like this explosion that occurs. So the light bulbs, not only did they have to like suck all the oxygen out of it and remove all gases, there's like the glass had to be strong enough to be able to withstand that vacuum pressure so that the filament can resist the heat, and the heat, the component, the inert gas that's in it doesn't burn up. And as they went through the years, the bulb was able to run hotter and hotter each time. So back in my childhood days, a bulb would last maybe 4 to 6 months. Today, you buy a bulb. I think the bulb I have installed here has been going for at least, what would you say, 2, 3 years?
Yeah, it's pretty long.
Yeah. I wonder how long the bulbs lasted. Oh, there it is.
Yeah. 40 hours
13 hours
at
and then
first.
40 hours. Oh, wow.
they're like, oh yeah, for the first one, I know it doesn't last long, but like I got this new light bulb that lasts twice as long. I wonder if they had like light bulbs explode too, just like because they were too hot or something.
I don't know. But all I know is that you have to have some other gas that can withstand the heat that's generated by passing the electricity in there.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. It's
Well,
interesting how science just evolves. It's like you don't create something that's just perfect the first time. It's like it's an evolution,
mm-hmm.
like going from 13 hours and then 40 hours. That's more than almost twice the amount of time.
Cool. Well, thank you, Mr. Edison. Next up, we have October 21st, Apple introduced PowerBook.
The good old PowerBook. When you say PowerBook, what do you imagine, Jonathan?
I thought it was going to be a bigger computer. This looks like a children's laptop.
Like one of the ones you would buy over at Toys R Us. Oh,
Yeah.
Toys R Us doesn't even exist anymore. This is the one you would pick up over at Target in the toy section, huh?
Yeah. I would let a child play with this.
They would probably play one of those learning games.
But it looks like they use this for regular stuff. It had a trackball, full keyboard.
That keyboard looks pretty nice. I mean, it looks like it has some good tactical feedback.
Yeah.
I wonder what kind of switches they had in there. Brown, blue, red. I mean, you had to have those in there. The little monitor that's on there, I think is just a little bigger than the new latest and greatest Nintendo handheld games, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's cool. So these most existing PC laptops of the time ran DOS and were therefore keyboard oriented, requiring an external mouse. The MacBook or the PowerBook actually was running an operating system that looked like a Windows operating system. So if we go and let's go look at one of these. It doesn't have an image of the operating system. I was kind of hoping that they would show the operating system. No, it doesn't have the operating system. Oh, that's a bummer. I wanted to see if they were running like the Mac OS from like Apple IIc, where they actually started off with the Windows design. That's cool.
Yeah. All right. Next up, we have October 22nd, photocopy invented.
Photocopying invented.
Whoa.
This was what do you think if I had a book before photocopying was invented and I had a book and you wanted a copy of it, what do you think you would have to do to get a copy of that book?
You had to had somebody like write it out again or like just make the whole thing again.
Yeah, that's what I would think, right? So that would take a long time. So making copies of books probably wasn't cheap. I mean, the economical factor compared to the way it is today, I mean, if you paid 10 cents in the 1930s, that might have been like what, a whole week's worth of pay?
Yeah, something like that.
10 cents. I mean, I could imagine paying a whole week's worth of pay. And so now we complain about making a copy of a sheet and it costs us 25 cents. That's chump change. I mean, that's a drop in the bucket in comparison. But yeah, these were really, this was 1938, photocopied electronically, Kornai had still faith in the invention, and within a year, he quit working for Carlson and willingly gave up any claims he had in the process. However, Carlson would later gift Corney 100 shares of Xerox Corporation that would eventually be worth $1 million. So this is Xerox. Remember we talked about Xerox? It was called something else before Xerox.
Yeah. What was it called?
Yeah, we'd have to sit there and watch one of our old episodes to get that information. We just talk about it. We don't remember it. Yeah.
Cool. All right. Next up, we have October 23rd, 1,000 songs in your pocket.
What does that mean, Jonathan?
I feel like it's an iPod joke.
I think that's exactly what it was.
Steve Jobs introduces the original iPod. Wow. The Gen 1 featuring a 5 gig hard drive.
This is an actual spinning drive with FireWire capability, synchronization to iTunes. Yeah, this was probably a lot smaller than most MP3 players at the time. So you could charge it and you can do high-speed music synchronization.
And download your favorite music from iTunes.
That's right.
Oh, now it's Apple Music.
Yeah, that used to be iTunes. Now it's Apple Music. You know, when Steve Jobs came up with the iPod, or whoever he worked with to come up with the iPod, he said during the presentation, people do not know what they want until they see and then they realize that they need it. And so the iPod happened to be one of those inventions where people didn't know that they wanted this little dial that you can swish your finger back and forth to fast forward and stuff. And then once they saw that, it's like the play, the stop, the eject, all that stuff, just like, hey, we don't need any of that stuff. We have this little dial that just kind of is ran with our thumb, you know? And so that was one of his famous sayings. People don't know what they want until they see it, then they realize that they need it. Something to that effect. I forget exactly how it went. So.
All right. Last but not least, we have October 24th, the first transcontinental telegraph line.
Whoa.
That seems dangerous.
But fun at the same time, no? I mean, come on. Western Union completes the first transcontinental telegraph line across the United States, making nearly instantaneous cross-country communication possible for the first time. Previously, it took 10 days for a letter to be sent from Missouri to California via Pony Express. Not coincidentally, 2 days later, the Pony shut down its operations.
Wow. They're like, we don't need you anymore.
Yeah. Can you imagine? I mean, you know, technology again evolves, right? And as one technology comes in, it will just completely lay off a whole segment of the market. I remember working for a company where they were doing a lot of manual phone calls. They were doing manual stuffing of the envelope, literally taking a stamp, running it through a wet sponge, sticking it, and then wetting the top of the envelope and then closing it, and then sending it out to the warehouse so that they can go and sort based on zip codes, right? And they had warehouses filled with people that were doing this. And it's a big government contract that they would sit here and do that. And they came up with an idea of like, hey, why don't we just, you know, make this all electronic? And what they would do is they would send this file over to a printer, and the printer would sit there and print out these letters and cut them and fold them and then like stuff them into an envelope, and the machine would lick it and stick it and stamp the thing and then sort the mail automatically. And several thousand employees that were doing all this manual licking and sticking of the envelopes ended up getting laid off. I'm sure this is something similar, right?
Yeah.
Where you had people who were experts with ponies and sending, the mail courier, and it just laid all these people out. It's pretty crazy.
Wow. Yeah. Cool. That's what we have for tech history this week.
All right. Way to finish it off. Yeah, till next time.